Let's get started with Jimmy. Guys, put your hands together for Jimmy Nelson.
Thank you, thank you. So for those of you that don't know me or haven't seen me before, my name is Jimmy Nelson. I have been in real estate and mortgages for over a decade, right? So over 10 years. I started on the mortgage side, flipped to the real estate side. I like the real estate side much better than I did the mortgage side. No offense to you mortgage guys. But I like, the mortgage guys are, you're on the phones, you're beating up. I like to be in front of people. It's whether that's my ego or not, I don't know, but I really like to be in front of people. So I really got into this business on the real estate side, on the coaching side. So I started as a productivity coach for a company here that we all know. It's red. It has two initials, and that's who I got started with was KW as a productivity coach. At that time, I didn't even have a real estate license yet. They hired me as a productivity coach first, because one of the things that I do is I talk to agents a lot about our mindset. What do we do every day? This entrepreneurial life is not easy, and it's not for everybody. You're realizing it right now in insurance, right? Mortgage guys are feeling the same thing. Real estate, you're feeling it. Owning your own business is great, right? It's a fantastic spot to be in. Not everybody always agrees with that. Not every day is easy. So the mindset is the hardest thing to get over with everything, and that's one of the things that I really like to focus on. And like Keith had mentioned earlier, I do have a podcast that I do. It's live every Friday morning. It's called the Elite Real Estate Podcast. It goes at 7:30 in the morning every Friday. So if you're on social media, you can find the Elite Real Estate Podcast on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Twitch, on all the spots. And it is, again, I started that as it says real estate in the title, but it's really more about mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset. And again, how do we do this every single day? So I've had guests on the show from doctors and dentists, because what people forget to realize too is doctors and dentists are small business owners, right? We assume that they're just a dentist and that's who we go to. But they're out looking for patients just like we're out looking for clients, right? They need to keep this business running every day. So again, they're in that same mindset. So I like to look at this from how do I do this every day and what gets me up and moving every day? And the hardest thing about that is our mindset and what we're doing. So one of the things that is a struggle for us, and those of you may be seeing this, and I heard it throughout everybody kind of talking today. A few of us mentioned it, and a few of us talked about it, but I heard, well, the market's tough right now. And I hear this all the time. The market's tough right now. It's a struggle out there right now. The market's tough. Is it? Or is that one of the things that we keep telling ourselves, right? Is the market tough right now? Rates are doing what the rates are going to do. We got an announcement coming today, right? Yeah, I think there's an announcement coming today about what rates are going to do. Now, the tricky part about the rate announcement is it really may not have anything to do with interest rates, with mortgage rates, right? It may have something to do with the federal rate, but that doesn't necessarily mean it has anything to do with mortgage rates at all. It gets your phones ringing. I heard rates went down. You're right. And the crazy part is, the worst thing that happens for you guys on the mortgage side is when they drop the federal rate, but the mortgage rate goes up. That's the call every time, right? Because people don't understand the difference in how that works, right? Now, it's the same thing in your business, right? You're selling advertising, right? Well, agents are going to go, I don't know, man, I haven't had a closing. I don't have this going right now. The market's really tough right now, right? Insurance, market's really tough right now. You're looking at, I can answer the phones for you, but agents are saying, I can't afford that right now. Like all this thing, and all we hear is, and the worst thing we can do is turn the freaking TV on. Like, just shut the TV off, maybe listen to NPR or something, and then shut it off, or just go into sports mode and just don't worry about what's going on in the real world at all, right? But so that's the hard part for what we do, because we hear it, and then we build in these excuses for ourselves, and we lie to ourselves more than we lie to anybody. We are the biggest liar to ourselves every day, right? Keith and I have had this conversation a bunch of times. Now, what's happened is Keith's gotten himself, lost 30-some pounds. He's working out every day because there's a health problem, right? There was a health problem. Before that, we had talked about it, and it was like, yeah, I want to get in shape. I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm going to start getting up and working out. I'll start tomorrow, right? I'll start tomorrow. We do the same thing in our business. Business is no different than, it's our mindset, right? How do we get up every day And I started looking at this like as real estate agents and as mortgage and selling, advertising and doing all the things that we do, marketing, technology. Technology's moving fast. AI is taking your job, right? How many times have you heard that? It's not taking your job. We know that. But how many times have you heard people on the news go, oh yeah, people are going to be out of work because of AI? People who don't adapt to these things are going to be out of work, right? People that don't start using these tools are going to be out of work. That's what's going to happen, right? It's just like some of us that are old enough to remember when the internet came out. Oh, the internet, everybody's going to lose their job because of the internet. Well, none of us lost a job because of the internet, but those that didn't adapt to it could lose a job because they didn't adapt to it, right? Real estate agents, we'd still be looking through a phone book like trying to make phone calls if it wasn't for the internet, right? So, or we'd be actually like dialing a phone instead of like just picking up and hitting some buttons or using a dialer and using technology, right? So again, it's adapting. But how does our mind change that, right? Who's struggling right now with like just every day, just getting through this grind of a business, right? You've got 70 agents, right? And now, how hard has that made that for you to now you're leading 70-some people? You love it. But what about the days you don't love it? Because there are those days. Very few, because you love what you do, and right? But, because if you don't love what you do, that's the first problem, right? If you don't love what you're doing, if you don't like what you're doing, that's the first problem. But what are those days like? What is a day like where you're like, I want to do this today?
Sometimes you think about it, but you just say, you know what? No, I'm going to take one thing at a time and solve the problem.
Yeah. Now, he said something very key right there. And that's where I believe is the beginning of everything. You take one thing at a time. Because that's what happens. We start trying to do too many things at once. And entrepreneurs, we get shiny object syndrome a lot, where we start to see this system works, this system works, this system works, and they're selling us on everything, right? They're constantly selling us on everything. And as salespeople, we should be picking up on it and ignoring it, but we don't. We're like, what? I can make more money by using this system over here? Great. But what happens is we get too many things going at once. And instead of focusing on the next thing, we've got 3 things now that we're trying to focus in on, right? And there's no such thing as multitasking. That's a false fallacy thing. That's not a real thing. There is no such thing as multitasking. It's not real. You can focus on one thing and then the next, and it kind of get close to each other. But if you're truly focused on something and you're building something and doing something to your best ability and putting 100% into it, there's no way you can focus on a second thing, okay? So I want you to start thinking about your mindset shift of get very detail-orientated and start thinking about one thing at a time and taking care of the next thing. And as an entrepreneur, and whether you're a real estate agent or insurance or mortgage, I will tell you the easiest thing to do to be super successful in your business is make it real boring. Make it real boring. If you just do the same thing every day, right? And if you have prospecting time or if your time there, I call them money-making activities, right? If I have my money-making activities that I know that I'm going to be prospecting for business, whether I'm calling agents or calling clients or whatever I'm doing, and I'm trying to do that prospecting time has to be protected time. And it has to be real boring. Meaning from 9 to 12, I'm not talking to anybody outside of what I'm going to hunt, right? I'm going to hunt business from 9 to 12 or from 12 to 1 or whatever that time looks like to you, and just do it. Rinse and repeat every day. Rinse and repeat every day. Just every day, just get real easy and I know it sounds really boring, but that being really boring will take your business to levels you've never seen before. So, quick story, 2020, everybody knows what happened in 2020. COVID happened in 2020, right? All of our businesses took a hit. We couldn't do anything, right? We got locked in the house for however many months. Everybody's business took a hit. And So when we came out of that, it was, how do I recover from that? And then everybody starts to scramble, and everybody's, and at the time, I, as a dad and a husband, I tried to find a job just because I was like, all right, I need to just find some money real quick. And the thing that I did is I got back with my coach, and he said, Jimmy, go back to what you were doing, get real boring again. And I did, and my business just picked right back up again. It did this dip, right? It did the dip, but then it came right back. So very similar. A few years back, I was running Mark Z's team over in Novi. So I was running the largest team in the state of Michigan. We had 120 agents. We were doing, however many hundreds of millions of dollars of business a month. And I was the sales manager, so I was out of production, right? So I was out of production doing that because I was running the sales team. So I learned a lot doing that. So then fast forward to end of 2023, I decided to build my own team. So I stepped away from running Mark's team and started my own team. Well, again, now I've started over again. But we know that building a sales team, it falls back on me to be the rainmaker, right? It falls back on me to start the business up, to pull clients in, because then what other agents are going to come to me if I can't show them how to bring clients in? Why would they even hang out with me if I can't do that? So it puts me right back fully into production again. So going fully back into production for 2024, then our team went and did, with 9 of us, we sold 53 houses, and we did about $17 million in business in a year. So, but again, going right back into that, because my mindset was just get real boring again and start just doing the same thing every day, right? Doing the same thing every day and getting real task orientated and saying, I'm going to do the next thing every day. Now, how are you getting business right now? About calling the office? Okay. Man, I should do insurance.
Nobody wants to do personal lines. I like personal lines.
Okay.
I was good at it.
Okay.
And a lot of cross sales.
Okay. Okay. So, and you're doing a lot of networking, you said? Trying to. So how are the networking events going?
Like I said, I'm trying. It was one of my roles this morning. I didn't love networking when I first started.
Okay. Yeah. So that's prospecting, right? Because a lot of agents, and you know this because you've got 70 agents, a lot of agents, when I talk to them, my prospecting is just phones, right? Cold calls, whether that's FSBOs, expireds. You're getting a lot of, did you say expireds, or are you getting probate? What was yours? Okay, foreclosures. Now, are you getting those directly from the bank? Like, how are you finding those?
Well, I get a lot from referrals.
Okay.
I've done it for such a long time. My asset managers like to refer me.
Sure.
But in the beginning, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Prospecting.
prospecting. So how did you prospect in the beginning? Call, right? The phone still beats everything. It's amazing. The phone still beats everything. Now, I will tell you, because you've been doing this for 30 years, right? You started when you were 12, right? All right. The rule of thumb, right, is it's 3 to 5 years of regular prospecting, and after 3 to 5 years, if consistent prospecting, your business just goes. It's just because you've just rinsed and repeated every day for 3 to 5 years. And it's 3 to 5 because it becomes the 5 because in year 2 or 3, I kind of fumbled a little bit and I didn't do it the right way. And then I had to extend to 5. But once you get through those 3 to 5 years, your business just starts to run. But again, it goes back to that mindset of, I just need to get really boring and I need to do the same things every day. And one of the things that I will tell you too is once you start doing this and get really scheduled with your time, you will start to get way more free time back than you think. A lot more, right? And when we like to spend time with our family and friends, right? Every once in a while, like building a business is great, but spending time with our family and friends is a great time too, right? And I'd like to do that a little more. And that was one of the things I noticed getting out of the corporate world and getting into the entrepreneur life, right? I probably work more now than I did, right? I probably put more hours in now than I did in the corporate world, but I can control my hours, right? I can have protected time. I can control my hours. if I put everything in my calendar, and if I take care of those things that I need to take care of during those working hours, right? And if I can get really focused for 3 to 4 hours a day, I can build an absolutely incredible business that, I'm going to take some time and answer those phone calls like you were saying earlier, right? I can answer those phone calls when I don't really want to, but I know I have to, right? I know that those calls come in that I have to take, and again, on the weekends and it's just what we're doing, right? That's just the nature of our business. So the other thing that I want you to lose as far as a mindset goes, I want you to lose the idea of a work-life balance, because there isn't one. There isn't one. It's a work-life blend. Start thinking of blending it together and not balancing it. Because if you try to balance it, you spend a lot of time spinning plates, right? Have you guys seen the NBA halftime shows where the guy has his plate spinning on a stick, and then he has to go over to this one and spin it, and then he has to go back to this one? And that's what work-life balance looks like, right? You're constantly just trying to keep one thing going after the other, and then they all start to fall, or one falls. And then, so now we're not balanced at all. Now we're stressed. Now we can't sleep, because now we're thinking about, oh man, I didn't finish that thing that I had today, but I've got this other thing that took my attention away, because now I got this email, and then I got a text message, and then I got a Facebook Messenger, and then somebody hit me up on Instagram, and all this communication starts coming in, so that work-life balance isn't really a thing. It's a work-life blend, right? And it's hard from time to time to blend those things together, but I will tell you it's very hard to do if you don't follow a schedule and if you don't follow a calendar, right? Like, this event has been in my calendars for a month, right? The one next week, same thing. These calendars that I'm doing with Keith have been in my calendar for a month. I know they're there. Now, I might be a little psychotic this week, because Monday I had a dinner event. Tuesday I had an event that was an all day. It was from 10 in the morning till 4 p.m. that I was emceeing all day. So then I had to be downtown at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was downtown till 11 o'clock at night, Tuesday night. Yesterday, if you guys saw, Real Producers had their Macomb County event at Juan Blanco, so I did my podcast live from that event. Then I had this today. Then I have my podcast at 7:30 tomorrow. So this week was a little psychotic. So this is what I mean about work-life balance. There isn't one, but I can blend it, right? Does that mean I missed out on a couple hours of sleep? Probably, right? Probably. And then my son was on his trip to Washington, D.C. in 8th grade, so I had to pick him up from school last night. They got in about 12:30 or 12:45 last night. It's for me to get up at 6 o'clock this morning. So he gets to stay home and sleep. I get to come do this stuff. But that's that work-life blend again, right? So there is some sacrifice, but I will tell you, the calendar is the most important thing, all right? The calendar is the most important thing. And now I've been married for 25 years, and my wife has just figured out just to go in there and put stuff in my calendar, right? Or she'll email me a meeting request. I get these meeting requests from my wife, but it's like my son's baseball game, or it's Mother's Day at my mom's house, or Mother's Day at her house. My Sunday's already good. Like, I know where I'm at Sunday, right? I know Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday. It's in my calendar, right? I know where I have to be for those things, and it's okay. Like, that's fine. It sounds kind of like generic and boring, right? It sounds kind of sterile and like bland, but that's the step to success, right? That's the step to, I know where I have to be, when I have to be there. Can I squeeze other things in throughout the day? For sure. I've got 2 more Zooms that I have to be on this afternoon, right? That I know I have the podcast tomorrow morning. Then I had to scramble and find a guest for tomorrow, because my guest that I was supposed to have on tomorrow canceled on me today. So then I had to scramble and find a guest for tomorrow. So Keith, we know how this goes, right? Like, it's just, you just plug and play, but you have to scramble and find it, figure it out, have some people on that hopefully want to come on, right, at some point, and then be able to pull them in. And again, if it wasn't able to happen, if I wasn't able to get a guest, guess what? Tomorrow it's a one-man show. Then I just do a highlight reel of the last 5 episodes and talk about it, and then I just jam through it for an hour, all right? So But again, getting real boring, real scheduled, makes your life so much easier. And helps with your mindset, because now when I go to bed at night, I can look at my calendar for tomorrow before my head hits the pillow tonight, probably about an hour before I go to bed. Because this is another thing I will tell you about electronics. We are so attached to everything. There's 3 cameras in there right now, right? Like, this is where technology is at. There's 1, 2, 3 cameras, like and what they do is they bounce. So this one's recording right now because the red light's on, so I know that one's recording me. So as they bounce, they move, and then sometimes when I get close, the other ones will pick me up. But technology, so try to put the technology down. You know this is a tech background. How much are you on that? Yeah, all the time, right? All the time. We're constantly scrolling, constantly scrolling. And then we're as agents and as entrepreneurs, we're trying to put as much content out as we can, right? And then it's like, as a mortgage guy, how much content are the mortgage coaches telling you to put on social media right now? More than you want to, right? More than you want to, for sure, right? But it's like, no, put it out, put it out, put it out, put it out. It sounds awesome. But man, and I know agents that are so highly successful with social media. But that's literally from the time they get up in the morning to the time they go to bed. They are on some social media, right? It's a full-time job. Like, when agents will tell me that, I'm going to build my business through social media. I'm like, okay, it's doable, but you have to do it all day. Like, that's the thing. It has to be constant it has to be another job. If you're like I said a minute ago, if you're prospecting for business and you're on the phone, it's 2 to 3 hours a day that you should be prospecting for business. If you're going to be prospecting for social media, you've got to be on social media 2 to 3 hours a day to do the same thing, to garner the same attention. But there's there's millions of other people doing the same thing, right? And then what's going to be the viral moment, right? The viral moment is not the moment that's going to get you business, right? I've got a very good friend of mine. He's down in North Carolina. He had a viral moment. He's really into AI. He's developed a whole bunch of AI stuff. But he had a viral moment. And I don't know if you guys might have seen his viral moment. His plane was delayed from Vegas to North Carolina by like 15 hours. Or some insane number. So when he finally got to board his plane, he got on the plane to fly back home. He was the only passenger on the plane. He was it. He was the only passenger on the plane. Full crew, full everybody, everything. He gets on and it was like a United flight. It was a commercial flight. He gets on and he was like, so he literally just started videoing it. He like went live from the plane and like the stewardesses were talking to him and like this whole moment went viral for him, right? And it honestly, it made him millions of dollars because he took that moment, that viral moment, and buttoned it up with his AI. It put him a bunch of viewers onto his channels, and he parlayed that into a couple $1 million, right? Because then he got asked to come speak at events. He was on Good Morning America. He did all these things, right? And then there's another friend of mine that you guys may know too that had a viral moment.
I thought that's what you were going to say first.
That had a viral moment where his son ordered a bunch of food on DoorDash. Keith is sitting right here. And his son ordered a bunch of food off DoorDash. And it was on Good Morning America. And it was on, everybody picked these things up. But that's how rare these moments are, right? So when agents tell me they want to do this with social media, there's these very rare moments, unless I have my kid just order a bunch of food on DoorDash and then, pretend that he didn't, right? Or I can get on a plane somehow that no one else got on besides me, right? So there's these very rare things. And typically, they're not even business related, right? We focus on trying to what I will tell you real estate agents to probably stop doing, and you can probably relay this to your agents, is stop talking about your closings, right? Because what we're finding with the algorithms and everything else is people don't want to see that anymore. They're done seeing, I closed in their house, right? I closed in their house, here's my key, right? Or I'm out front, like closing day. Because we've got so many real estate agents on there, the real estate agent game becomes like, oh, yeah, right, you had another closing, right? When was that closing? right? Because the numbers don't, like, we go look up the numbers, and I can tell you how many closings you actually had, or how many videos you shot out front of houses, or, now we see people are scheduling time to go visit houses and show houses, but they're not. It becomes now a social media platform, right? They're going to video these houses and doing everything else. It's not really their listing. It's not even really their house. They don't even have anything to do with it. But they can schedule time to go to it, shoot a video in it, and then put it out on their social medias, right? So, again, it goes back to your mindset, and I want to just make sure that we're hitting on the fact that the biggest thing we can work on is just making it real vanilla, right, and real boring to take that next step to being successful, right? To take that next step to having mass success is getting just really boring, right? Living by a calendar, putting things out there every day that you have to do. And I'm a big believer in setting goals, right? I'm a big goal setter, a big believer in that. But I'm also a big believer in what does that actually mean to you, right? So everything that I do, so I have the Elite Real Estate Podcast. My team is the Elite Real Estate team. I have an elite coaching platform. So everything I've done is elite. And one thing that, talking to different marketing people and everything else, but one thing I want everybody to understand is, like, what does elite mean to you? Right? Like, specifically, what if I were to say, do you want to be elite, what would that mean to you?
Best of the best.
Best of the best. Is it attainable? Like, is being elite like an attainable thing, or is like elite not? Okay. What about you?
Yeah, we're step above everybody else.
Okay. Yeah. Same thing? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Servicing others, right? Like there's something to be said about that more of us should be doing that. Service to others, right? So, because I've had people say to me, well, like, the elite idea. We sometimes, like, look at elite and we're like, well, we can't be elite, right? Like, let's just, a billionaire. Well, a billionaire, are they elite or they just get lucky, right? So, a little bit of both maybe, right? Not that they're not hardworking, but maybe a little bit of both. My idea of elite is this. It's whatever it is to you, right? It's whatever it is to you. It's the best version of yourself. 1% better than you were yesterday. 1% better than you were yesterday, that's it. Can't ask for anything else other than that, right? Just be better than you were yesterday by 1%, and think of that improvement you get over a full year, right? And so if you can get 1% better than you were yesterday, you're becoming the elite version of yourself. And that's what my key is, right? So if I sit down with agents or business owners and we talk about, like, how do I build this business, or how do I get better at this, or what do I do with this? I come right back with, what do you want it to be? What does it look like to you? Because I've coached agents that were in their brokerage, and they were like, well, they want to get rid of me because I didn't make $100,000 last year, right? I've literally heard people say that. And I'm like, well, what did you want to make? Well, I just needed to make $60,000. Like, it's just, for me to go on vacation. Like, my spouse is the breadwinner. I do real estate, and I love real estate. I like helping people, right? I like doing these things. I don't need to make $1 million a year. Okay, what do you need to make? Well, I need to make 70. Okay, well, let's sit down and plan out how you do that. Now you're becoming that elite version of yourself. You're not becoming the $100,000. Because when I talk to new agents, typically all the new agents tell me, when I say, what do you want to make next year? They all say, $100,000. But then I just come right back and go, why? What does that mean? A lot of people haven't ever made it before, right? So it's new. It's like they're young and they're like, I want to make 100,000. Six figures sounds great. Great, but what we can do that. Here's what it's going to look like. You can make $1 million a year in real estate. You can. How much work are you willing to put in? How much sacrifice are you willing to get off, right? How much time are you willing to spend away from your family, right? Had a conversation with a guy on Tuesday about this. And we were talking about a couple different things. And, success billionaires, millionaires locally, right? And some of these, because they've sacrificed so much. They've sacrificed their family. Or they just haven't been married or had kids, right? They haven't done any of those things. So it's like, is there an unfair advantage there? Well, sure, you don't have to go home, right? You don't have to pick your son up from school at 12:30 at night because he got back from DC last night, right? There's an advantage to not doing that. But is that an advantage? I look at it the opposite way. I'm way ahead of them than everybody else is. Financially, am I behind them? Maybe. But I have something at home that they don't have, right? So again, it becomes back to my elite version of myself, right? I can still provide for my family. I can still spend time with them. I enjoy hanging out with my wife, right? I enjoy date night. Date night's still fun. Like 25 years in, we still have fun on date night. But I can spend time with both my boys. I can do all those things and find a balance, right? I don't have to sacrifice that for this. And that's the mindset I want you guys to think about is how can I not sacrifice these things over here for this? And it's by getting real boring, scheduling your time out, figuring out what that looks like to you. But again, going back to what your goals are for you and your business, right? And what does the next year look like for you? What does the next 10 years look like, right? As I get older, the more I look at, I'm 52 now. What do I want to do at 62? Do I still want to open lock boxes and negotiate deals? I love real estate, but at 62, I don't know if I want to be opening lock boxes, right? But I still love real estate. So there's give and take, right, of what I want to do. So again, think about what you want to do now for the next year. Set those goals out, and then every year start setting different goals. And I've taken a different approach to this too. I've added different words to my vocabulary, right? I've added what I wanted to do this year is I wanted to have intentional growth, right? I wanted to have intentional growth in my business, right? I wanted to do more real estate transactions. I wanted to grow my team. I wanted to add more agents to us, right? I wanted to add more agents to my coaching platform. I wanted to add more businesses to our portfolio. I wanted to grow, but I also want to do it intentionally. I don't want to just start grabbing random things. I want to grow intentionally. And I'm sure that's what you had to do to do 70 agents in a couple years. That's not an easy task to do. But it has to be very intentional and look at very specific people. Because again, now you're protecting a culture. That becomes hard too as you're growing a business. Protecting a culture becomes important. Because I can't let somebody come in and mess with my culture, right? I can't let somebody come in and get all that. So I just say my biggest thing on mindset is focus on you and what you want out of your business, out of your life, how to blend those two things together, and just get real boring with it, right? I know that's not very inspirational if I say just get real boring with it, but I'm just telling you, get real boring with it because what it will do is it'll open you up to far more many things you can do with your friends and family than it will spinning plates and running around like a chicken with your head cut off because nobody wants to do that. And we all get caught in it. I still do. I just kind of explained how my week has been going. And like, this week has not been easy. And I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off a little bit. So I'm already looking at next week thinking, all right, how can I shift gears a little bit and get back to what I need to do? Because these events are important. Bringing messages to you guys is important. Bringing messages to other people is important to me, right? Transfer of knowledge is important to me. The more things I can learn and transfer to other people, the better I am, right? Service to others, that's where I believe in, right? I believe in service to others. So if I can learn something and then give it out, then I'm winning, right? I'm winning, I believe I'm doing that, right? I believe I'm doing that. But my thing on mindset, again, that 1% of you that gets better every day is going to be the thing that changes you and makes you better and, again, puts you at ease a little bit too, right? So it makes you sleep better at night. I've accomplished things, and now I can look at things throughout the day that I've accomplished, and I've checked a bunch of boxes. Now when I lay my head down at night, I can sleep really good because I've accomplished those things I put out for myself today. All right? You guys have questions for me? I've made you think. I've made you think. So there is some stuff out there. So I do have a coaching platform. And it's not just for real estate agents. It's for the entrepreneur. It's for, I have a mortgage background, so I've worked with mortgage bankers. But if you want to throw your card in that box, that houndstooth box right there, I am giving away a 30-day coaching for free. So we'll meet once a week. We have a phone call once a week. So we'll be meeting a couple times a week because my biggest thing is like I want to get you structured with being boring, right? How do I schedule this out? What does my schedule, my time look like? A 90-day business plan I've put together too. We'll get you lined up on that stuff and then help hold you accountable for 30 days because, again, it only takes 21 days to build a habit. So if I can help somebody build that habit over the next 30 days, that's what I want to do and help somebody out do that. So that's all I've got. I appreciate your guys' time and coming out today, and thank you very much.